and Molly. They have a school event tonight, and they have no one to pick them up. I need to stay at the workshop to finish the paperwork, and we'll see we will run and we'll go pick them up. Felix, if you say anything to those kids, I'll fucking kill you.
Welcome to Wonderland.
The Walton Files have always been interesting. Ever since the first episode, it got us hooked with all the spooky jump scares and visuals that startled me so much it damn near killed me. I'll be honest, I've been a fan of this series since it began. I even had a little VHS tape I made in real life at some point with all the tapes on it and such. It's been giving us an amazing story and an amazing scare on the journey that we've had so far. And now it's letting the story shine a bit more with the recent episode, being episode 4, finally releasing. After waiting so long for the Walton Files to return, we finally got a teaser image saying that the Walton Files was coming back in February. And then soon after, like a week after or so, we got a video finally that was scheduled for February 9th. And once it released, it gave us way more than what we thought was coming. And we also got introduced to a new character who is the main focus of today's video. And by the way, the new episode, it's superb. Its new way of conveying story is this amazing animation by the man who makes the series. It's very stylistic and I love it. Also in this episode we get more of Jack and Felix, which is I think what everyone's been waiting for. In this video I want to recap on the recent episode and the secret episode if I get to it. And I also want to take a look at Bond and see who he is and throw my theory out there, which I have a theory! The video begins with amazing animation of Ed and Molly during the school party walking into the adult zone, which we all know where this is going, but I'm still confused on why there's an adult zone in a school. But whatever, we'll let it pass. But this whole scene is setting up that we will be visiting the story of what happened that night and what happened around it. Next we see an intro to an internal training tape or demo tape. It opens up with 4 options to watch. We do get to see the promo one, which is what the guy watching the tape clicks on. It introduces us to the characters and has their names pop up as the footage plays. And it also has objectively funny imagery of the robots. They're small, chibi looking characters, just very silly looking. Then the tape starts messing up and it cuts to a very terrifying close-up. Have fun sleeping tonight. Next we see Cyber Telly explaining the magic of the showstoppers and how they work to us. It's a decently interesting set. Whoa. It happened again. It showed it again. I'm sure it's fine for now. We'll continue. The next segment is about concept art, and apparently it's all done by Rosemary Walton.
Loving wife of...
It cuts off Jack's name again, keeping the trend of Jack being mysterious and we don't really know much about him, and still weirdly just cutting him out of everything. Maybe Felix tampered with these tapes. But it turns out Rosemary's the lead designer for the characters and she is the main person who lets the designs get through and become official. It's interesting how much we get to find out about Rosemary here. I know it's small, but still all we knew about her is that she was dead and rotting in Shaw, and she is the mother of Sophie. We get a start to a new segment of the tape, and with a new voice. Susan Woodings is here and talking about the partnership with BSI. She's a techie girl, a very vital and huge piece to the company. She's a tech wizard. And we see more... okay. Why do I get interrupted by the most scariest shit?
Mr. Krenken, this is Norman. I'm sending you this letter on behalf of our deal between Bunny Smiles and Cyberfun Tech. And most importantly, the well-being of our Cyberfun staff. We've been getting a lot of complaints about a member of your staff going missing who is highly associated with you and your team. Susan Woodings has been missing for a week now, and here in Cyberfun Tech, we are working as hard as we can to try and manage to get in contact with her. Is there perhaps any details you can hand us to help locate our missing employee? I'm going to be entirely honest with you, Mr. Kranken, and tell you, I have a ton of questions and suspicions about whatever is going on with your company. Whatever it is, it's making both your company and mine look bad to public light. So, again, if there's anything you could tell us to find Susan, write back immediately. Thank you. I'll see you Monday.
She's missing. The tape cuts to Susan talking about the CT console. It has Susan and Charles testing around with the console. They test animatronics' capability of moving around tables, chairs to get to places. And, one of the animatronics falls.
I told you to watch for the table, man.
They also show animatronics can see people's faces and find out who they are. I believe it's only for employees to see if they actually work there. Also, something to note, Charles and Susan start talking about how Felix has started drinking around town, but Jack and Rose don't know. And they ask each other if they should tell. It turns out that they don't, considering the incidents that follow. But after that little clip of them talking, it cuts to another one of them talking about the incident with Felix.
What does that mean?
That's what I heard, man.
He was drunk while driving the car?
Which makes me think Felix came clean of the incident, which is interesting. That must have been horrifying for him to admit. But Susan and Charles walk into the other room and Rocket starts to move around the room. Felix is keeping that here because he doesn't want Rose or Jack to have it because he thinks there's something wrong with it, I believe. Rocket stops in front of a robot and it starts to scan him and, the next clip of the tape starts, and it turns out Susan is alone. Walton looks wild in the scene, and of course this is valid because he's arriving at who he thought was his friend Felix's house. He knocks and pleads with Felix to open the door before switching to anger. He bangs on the door louder and louder before telling Felix,
I'll fucking kill you. If you remember this door,
We cut to Felix. He's laying down in a grave he dug for himself. He doesn't make a sound during this scene. Instead, he walks silently towards the edge of a cliff and starts throwing evidence off. And then he starts getting closer and closer to the edge until he backs up and drops to the floor. He dug his own grave. This is a detail we've never seen. We've seen the wreck and talked about it, but we've never seen Felix's point of view after. And here we start to feel more sympathy for Felix. This whole time he was framed as this like villain, this cartoonish villain. He's murderous, killing everybody. He's the murderer this whole time, but it seems like this was an accident. A terrible accident, his fault entirely. But I bet he wishes he could take it back. And Ed and Molly torture him anyways, calling out to him as Uncle Felix.
Uncle Felix?
And following him wherever he goes, reminding him of what he did. It was a terrible thing, he has to be reminded. And during this scene, he actually talks about when he came clean to Jack and Rose. I'm surprised he left that encounter unscathed. I can't help but feel more sympathy for Felix as we continue, but he still did something absolutely abysmal, terrible, awful. We cut to Bond, artfully piecing together Susan by shoving her into his suit. We then transition to a place called the Wonderland, with Susan confused and lost. We are then introduced to...
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Bond.
This interaction between Susan and Bond is amazing. Bond introduces himself but already shows that he knows who Susan is. The person who likes to fix things. I mean, yeah, that's a part of her job, but I feel like he's picking that specific detail out for a reason. I believe this Bond character has a lot to do with justification, using very loose things to justify what he does. Which what he wants to do is shove broken people into these robots and make them better. They'll be better, right? If they're just made of metal, they'll be better. I mean, that's all we know of him right now. He just wants to fix people, but is doing it in the worst way possible, with terrible justification as well. He just assumes Susan is a part of his plan. What a freak! We get two types of monsters in this episode. Felix with his insane self-destructiveness, which destroyed other people's lives around him because he couldn't move on or ask for help. And then Bond, the stranger we've been seeing throughout the entire episode. This horrifying, distorted figure that we can only assume is human, for now at least, because he has no backstory. He just kills people. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy. Well, I have a theory! This episode has a specific character we don't really understand, and it's a white bear. He's a very pale fella just like Bond, but he has a different purpose. He's helping Sophie get her memories back, which why would Bond want that? He just seems like a straightforward guy. Let me kill you now and fix ya. While this guy seems more put together and knows everything, but maybe Bond has a reason to tell Sophie all of her repressed memories before killing her. Maybe Bond knows everything because he has to know who's broken so he can fix them. Maybe Bond is showing that Sophie is broken so that he can fix her. I'm on to something, guys. I'm flipping on to something. Getting killed by Bond might be like, I can fix you, honey. I can make you better. Even if you were broken, even if you do get fixed in the normal way, Bond will still rip you apart. I know it's still a loose theory, but it doesn't explain what happened to Jack or Rosemary, but maybe the Halloween special has something to do with that? I don't know, I really just need help with this theory, guys. This part specifically is really getting to me. Even if it is this guy, it doesn't really leave much for us to figure out anyways, because we don't even know who this guy is. I really need help in the comments figuring this out, but maybe the secret episode could help us. That could help us. The secret episode focuses mainly on Susan after she died. I don't know, that secret episode doesn't give us a lot for Bond, which is the whole point of this episode. We got a loose little theory that I made, and I was really cooking with that, guys, until I realized that we don't even know who this guy is. But that's all I have time for, really. Thank you guys for watching. I want to do more passion stuff like this, like stuff that really interests me. I have been doing that for the past recent videos, and you guys seem to like it. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing like an episode every 2 weeks of stuff, and just doing like passion. I'm glad I'm starting to figure out what I want to do with this channel, but yeah, that's all I had for this video, really. If you guys have any theories, put it in the comments, please. I really want to figure out who this guy is. He's an interesting character. And with that, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, do stuff to help me, please. I want to get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year. Thanks again, and thanks for listening to me blabber about some random nonsense. Bye!